Well, the final of the Netball World Cup is just about to take place. It's Australia up against England, live from the Cape Town International Convention Centre. And for more, I'm joined by my colleague, Lebogang Dube, who is standing by. Lebo, this isn't the final that South Africans wanted, but what is the latest? Because this is the final of the Netball World Cup.
Thank you very much, Simon. Indeed, we're just moments away from the final of the 2023 Netball World Cup, wrapping up the tournament, which has been quite exciting. It's two nations that have really played well. Australia against England. We're expecting a tough one. And it's not the first time that the two teams would be meeting. They met earlier on in the group stages. And just to speak more about the game, I'm joined by our analyst, Sino, just to dissect and just perhaps just give us a sense of what to expect in this particular match. Sino, thank you for joining us. We have the final, England-Australia. We are expecting an exciting match, perhaps a fast-paced match. Is that what we should expect?
Thank you so much, Lebo. So yes, we are expecting a really tough match that's going to come now, and these teams have come up together in this tournament already, and obviously Australia losing to New Zealand, but this is Australia, and Australia know how to show up at the right time, in my opinion, and not to take anything away from England, so it's going to be a really, really tough one. But I speak for a lot of people, myself. We would love to see an upset, and we've been seeing a lot of those in this tournament, and I'm hoping for an upset. I'm hoping for England to take this one if they can from Australia, because in every match or in every final Australia is there, but the crowd is looking electrifying in there, and I think, you know, it's going to take each system of that game, you know, showing up with, be it mid-quarter and the strong defense on each side, with Jiva probably on the England side as the goalkeeper, and then maybe Courtney Bruce on the other side. So it's going to be a really, really tough one, but I can't wait for it to start.
During the course of the tournament, you have always emphasized the importance of defense. Do you think defense will play a critical role in today's match and the outcome of it? 100%,
because the only way that you can get a turnover and get a lead in the game, you need your defense to show up, right? Because when they defend the ball, everyone has an equal number of center passes. So if it's center pass for center pass, then we're going to end into a draw, right? The only way that we can turn a ball is if the defense shows up, turns a ball for their team. And then what's important in that as well is that when the defense shows up, the attacking in the mid-quarter needs to make sure that they take that ball safely into the shooter's hands, and the shooters need to do their job and shoot the ball.
These two nations are nations that are quite top in the world rankings. What do you think they've done right in this particular tournament to reach the final, especially considering that both teams have not gone through the tournament without losing a match? They went on to lose. They've suffered defeats as well. But what is it that they got it right to make sure that they get to the final?
I think what we've been saying throughout this tournament is just to remain clinical, and I think for England, in my opinion, is because the tougher matches, or the toughest match that they had, was the Australian game. Not to take anything away from them, but maybe they still had fresher legs, and they still had the opportunity to be able to play the entire benches, and that's exactly what Australia also had, like throughout, because of the pools that they were in. They had the advantage to be able to play all 12 players on the bench, so that when the bigger games start, then they have their starting seven not as fatigued, and in my opinion well rested, and also just a mental game when it comes to them. They have what we call BMT, especially Australia, but England has come to prove that they can beat Australia. It's number one versus number three today, and it's going to be electrifying inside the arena.
And earlier, just to get a reflection of the earlier matches, we saw the Proteas going down against Uganda, and we also saw the Jamaica-New Zealand match. Perhaps if you can give us a reflection or your review of those matches.
I'm going to start with the Protea Uganda game. We know that going into that game, Uganda had something to prove, and we beat Uganda earlier, so they were coming guns blazing for us. I don't know again what happened in the game, and this is something I've touched on a couple of times when it comes to our Proteas in this tournament, is that third quarter, because we were even halftime, but then again the third quarter is what saw us losing the game. And I just think there was a lot of lack of discipline, even when I was in the press conference earlier with the captain as as well as the vice captain and Norma Plummer, they spoke a lot about the discipline that they actually lacked, showed the disappointment like everyone did because we were the hosts, and to finish sixth is not the finish that we would have liked. But kudos to our African sisters for taking that one, and Proteas can just take whatever they can from this tournament and build from that moving forward, possibly up where I think the next one will be like a quad series or a Commonwealth. So that's the one. And then the one that we watch now, another historic one, Jamaica walking away with the bronze medal. And I think it's like a sad and disappointing result for the Silver Ferns from being the world champions in 2019 and now to be finishing in fourth place. I feel my heart bleeds for them, but also clinical. Jamaica was clinical in that game. They were all present, and for the most time in that New Zealand team, that's not the New Zealand that we know them to be. They felt stagnant for me while I was watching them. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's the fatigue or they're tired or it's a mental block that they kind of had. But remember, Jamaica in this tournament came guns blazing, and I mean, Fowler on the one end, and then you've got a Sterling and was it Ward on the other side, where they're just clinical and they fought and they put their bodies on the line, and this is the result that they got.
Well, we are waiting for the final, but again, looking ahead into the next coming 4 years, a lot of these countries going through a transition process. Do you think or expect that we can see a better or a much more improved tournament in the next 4 years?
I'm hoping for that, Lebo, and there's a lot of talk that has been going around about how we can better structure the format of the World Cup, especially to see like your top 8 teams playing just them, and then maybe the bottom, I'm going to call them the bottom 8 teams, maybe playing for something maybe where the top of that bottom 8 can play for a shield position. And also if you look at the African teams, if we can see more African teams, performing better and possibly having, I'm going to say 2 teams maybe in the podium next time, and like the Ugandan team, that's a force to be reckoned with, and I'm hoping their government is going to step up and help them, because that's what we need as the African countries. And if we can also currently get some of our players overseas, more of them, so that we have the experience, because if you look at the Jamaican team, they have got a lot of players that are playing overseas, and it's showing in their game. Even with the Ugandan shooter Mary, you can see the difference that she's gotten from playing in Australia. So we need to be exposed to that, and if we can get that done, we can have a more competitive tournament where it's not just your Australia that's always in the final, your Englands or New Zealands that are there. We want to see new teams, so I'm hoping that this World Cup moves our countries and all the other countries just to a more developmental kind of space where we can have and groom these young players.
Sino, thank you very much for that analysis. Simon, there we go, just moments away from the final between England and Australia. A lot of excitement around the CTICC. Earlier on, the President of the Republic entered the building accompanied by the Sports Minister and his deputy, Notkawe Mafu. Quite interesting, quite exciting here, and we're hoping for a fast-paced match, one that a lot of people are looking forward to the result.
Lebo, thank you very much for that update. I can see the streams of people pouring in. Netball clearly in a very healthy state. However, the Proteas, it sounds like in the next 4 years, they have their work cut out.